Just so excited to be with you. Are you excited today? This is wonderful. It's always an honor and a little bit scary to follow Dr. Hill because he's amazing, but I'm going to do my best. And we're going to dive a little bit into the science behind some of the things that you've been hearing about. But first, I want you to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Maybe it's of that jasmine that you just got to open. Maybe there's a citrus oil nearby. Breathe it in. Now, take note of those aromas you just inhaled. You just gave your body important clues about your environment and sent signals to your cells. Aroma and air molecules we breathe in general can play important roles in our overall wellness. Think about that. We're going to talk about the idea and go into a little bit more depth on two of my very favorite things, olfaction and epigenetics. Two E words. Let's dive in. These processes may be connected in ways that we're just beginning to understand. Now, first, how about a really quick review of epigenetics? I'm going to give you a simplified version using an analogy. Now, this is simplified, so I know if you're into science, bear with me for a second. But I want you to imagine you have a recipe box full of great recipes. You've collected and inherited them from your parents, your grandparents, your loved ones. These recipes are your favorite things. Some of them are for main dishes. Others are for salads, for cakes, or cookies, or soups, anything you want. Now, do you go into your kitchen and cook all of the recipes at the same time? You could, but of course not. You cook based on what you need. You use your recipes to make whatever dishes fit the occasion. Sometimes you need lots of food for a big party. Other times you need just a single loaf of bread. The recipes that you take out depend on your needs at the moment and the different stimuli around you. This is a bit like what's going on inside you right now. The recipe box is like your DNA, your genetics, those instructions. Which recipes you use, how you use them, when you use them, this is like epigenetics. It's the powerful way that we're able to adapt to our environment, to fight off invaders, make new cells, send signals throughout our body. That's epigenetics in a nutshell. Now, what about olfaction and aroma? How do they tie in? The olfactory system is one of our most direct ties with our environment. Signals we receive through our sense of smell have the fastest route directly to our brains. We've known for a long time how powerful the sense of smell can be, but it's really only recently that scientists are looking at how smell affects us on a cellular level. Preliminary research suggests that aroma and our sense of smell has direct ties to our epigenetics and our health. Let's think about that for a minute. Okay, so olfaction is connected to epigenetics of metabolism, which you just heard Dr. Hill talk about. And this basically means that experiencing certain aromas can influence changes impacting our cravings, our dietary intake, perception of food, even the way that we process toxins. Maybe you've experienced this for yourself. Let's try a little thought experiment. Close your eyes again and imagine the aroma of chocolate chip cookies as they're baking, or whatever your favorite comfort food is. Many of us react to this aroma by craving sweets or other comforting foods tied to various memories. Now, what were to happen if, as you experienced a craving for sweets, you were to smell an essential oil, peppermint or wild orange, for example? Some interesting experiments have been conducted suggesting that aroma can strongly influence these sensations, interrupt them sometimes, or help encourage them. We'd love to hear about some of your experiences with this if you have them. I bet you have. Now, our olfactory system, like most other systems, comes ready to be programmed when we're babies. The odors we experience in our early development can actually epigenetically shape the way our olfactory cells and even other body systems grow and develop. But the power of aroma actually affects our genetics even farther back than that. Ancestral environmental exposures to aroma have previously been shown to promote epigenetic transgenerational inheritance, right? influencing all aspects of an individual's life history. In other words, we might be connected to the aromas that impacted and influenced our ancestors in their DNA. Okay, what does all this mean? Well, when we breathe in aroma, it actually influences our epigenetic processes. It gives us clues to our environment, and we adapt accordingly. Let's talk about some of the research being done. Although it's very preliminary, and much of it is just in vitro so far, it gives us interesting clues about how essential oils and aromas may work. For example, some early studies that we have point towards essential oil components being natural upregulators of detoxification processes. Now, remember, these are preliminary findings that need to be confirmed by much more research, which I hope to be able to contribute to. But if these findings prove to be accurate, then as the body's natural detoxification systems improve, we are better able to handle the environmental toxins we encounter in daily life. Humans and plants have evolved together in relatively similar environments. It's logical that their mechanisms of protection and detoxification that we find in the plant world could help us as well. Thankfully, we have the tools to reduce our toxic load by replacing things like synthetic fragrances, cleaning chemicals, makeup, hair care things with natural essential oils. Now, let's talk about that idea of synthetic molecules for just a minute. We're learning some interesting things about how our bodies handle these substances. For just a minute, let's talk about the effects that synthetic fragrances may have on us. At one point, it was thought that if a chemical was built in the lab to have exactly the same shape as a natural substance, it would work in exactly the same way. Well, maybe not. For one thing, there's sometimes the issue of chirality. This means that beyond a chemical's shape, it also has an orientation. Okay, I want you to hold your hands out in front of you. See how they're the same shape? They're both hands, but they each have a distinct orientation. I can't superimpose them on top of one another and have them match. Many essential oil molecules have a unique chirality, and nature may choose a certain orientation of molecule to be present in plants over another. Potentially, certain orientations may be useful in the human body and others not. If you've ever smelled spearmint essential oil, for example, you probably wouldn't mistake it for caraway essential oil, which smells like rye bread. Yet these two oils have the same main constituent, carvone, just a different chirality. So even if a synthetic fragrance uses the same chemical constituents found in essential oils, it may have the wrong chirality, which can drastically change how the body interacts with it. The truth is, many synthetic fragrances and other chemicals are made up of a bunch of different fillers and additives, all kinds of things. If you do a chemical analysis on some of these products, which we've done, you'll see dozens of substances in them, many of which our body might not recognize or may treat as a toxin. These substances could be chemically altered, have the wrong chirality, or may even be a substance we don't find in nature. And putting them into the air of our homes means we're breathing them in all day. Now, for another thing, when it comes to synthetics, even if they are a collection of fragrance notes, they still lack the natural complexity of a true essential oil. We're finding in our research that this complexity often results in synergy among the constituents that simply cannot be reconstituted in a test tube. Nature designed the most exquisite combinations of chemical constituents in pure essential oil. Why mess with these mixtures that have taken millennia to perfect? From the beginning, doTERRA has respected the power of pure, potent essential oil. Science is finally beginning to catch up and provide validation for what you've known all along. An interesting study directly compared natural essential oil with synthetic substances that mimicked the aroma of the oil. Participants inhaled each at different times, then were asked to perform cognitive tests. Guess what? The natural oil outperformed the synthetic fragrance, even when the participants were blinded to what they were smelling. And the synthetic fragrance was built to smell similar to the oil. This study and others show that our bodies really can tell a difference between the real thing and a cheap substitute. So, what does this mean for our health? When you think about all the synthetic fragrances and substances that can lurk in our personal care products, our cleaning products, air fresheners, candles, even pet products, this is a lot of potentially toxic load for our bodies to handle. We may be exposing ourselves to hundreds of chemicals that our ancestors never dreamed of, and that our bodies have no context for processing or understanding. So when you rely on synthetic fragrances, not only are you missing out on all the wonderful benefits of natural aromas, you may also be experiencing unwanted reactions and side effects. These are some very important reasons to consider reducing your toxic load by steering away from those synthetics and embracing the natural. Here's one final interesting tidbit for you. A reason that we know that aroma molecules have close ties with our cellular processes. Olfactory receptors are found in many body tissues. Perhaps evolution has conserved these receptors as specific keys to unlock epigenetic controls. Imagine that. The same types of sensory receptors in our noses that we use to smell essential oils are also found in our digestive systems, our muscles, even our brains. They could be keys, very specific keys, to unlock epigenetic power. While we eagerly await to see what the research reveals, we already know that aroma, particularly essential oil aroma, is not merely decorative, not simply something to give our houses ambience or to make ourselves smell good, although oils can do all these things very well. Along with lifestyle factors such as diet, exercise, and sleep, we know that essential oil components can help shape who we are, clear down to the level of our DNA. They can help support those natural processes that our bodies are so good at of detoxification and of health. So the next time you're enjoying the complex aroma of a doTERRA essential oil, which hopefully you're doing quite a bit, I bet you're at home enjoying that very much, remember, it's a lot more than just a beautiful smell.